Wow. Look, I don't even know really where to start. I guess start with I just dropped my wife's car off at the garage for its MOT with her. They're leaving us with no car and a 20-odd minute walk back. But just have a nice day together, go and get a cup of tea, sit in Costa, chat, talk about how much we love each other and all that. And instead, I sat in that Costa, fuming in my tea, trying not to cry, and then had to leg it home, get in the car and get here, and my head hasn't really stopped spinning since then.
I was just at home sort of procrastinating a little bit. We're going away for the weekend and stuff for my wife's birthday, and my phone's on silent because it has been for the last 8 years because I'm a grown-up. So I picked my phone up and there was a lot of messages. I was a bit like, what the hell's going on here? And then, I saw Steve's first because you got a priority of WhatsApp groups, haven't you? And Redmen New is obviously it. And Steve's was like, oh my God, or something like that. And then you were like, what are you doing there? Are you Facebook mumming it type of stuff? And then obviously then you see the news and I was just sort of, I'm a pacer anyway, so I was just pacing up and down the house and stuff like that. And then I just thought, I'm going to have to come to work. So I phoned you, come here, and left my laptop, left my bag. I don't go anywhere without it ever, pretty much. And then I've just been constantly wondering what the hell's going on with my life and watching people just walk around in circles. No, it's one of them. It's like I was walking the streets and it's like you're looking at people like going, again, I was in the Costa, there's like a bunch of like women behind the counter. I was like, do they know? I mean, like, ultimately, then do they care? And I'm like, yeah, it's like, it's like, if it sounds stupid, because we've literally all, what I'm about to say, because we've all experienced bereavement and it's bigger than this, but it's got that vibe of like, you know what? Yeah, at the risk of like trivializing actual bereavement, which I don't want to do, but when you like all the stuff around like the Queen and the King and all that kind of stuff, and the people for whom it really sort of impacted and never really resonated. This honestly has resonated more with me. And Jürgen Klopp is fine, by the way. Well, I hope he is. He's just decided he wants to maybe get a different job or not have a job anymore, which he's entitled to, having done all this years of success. But I wasn't ready for it and I'm not prepared for it. I don't know. I think I had in my head, like, we'll get to, I just thought he'd extend. I genuinely thought he just looks reinvigorated. So honestly, it never even occurred to me that he would leave at the end of a contract, let alone leave at the end of the season. No, it didn't. And similar to you, I was right outside the Co-op on the way to the studio, and there was a car just pulling in front of me, and I just thought to myself, I wonder if they know. Like, how are you going on with your normal life type of thing? Because right now there's nothing that I can think about more than Jürgen Klopp leaving Liverpool Football Club. And I was listening to the radio on the way in and just started to think back about it. Is like bereavement because these memories just come flooding back to you. I was thinking about Barcelona, I was thinking about Dortmund, and I was thinking about interviewing him in Boston and him laughing at me for not going to Madrid, and like all these things, like he's not going to be here anymore. I can't get used to it.
It's mad because I literally showed Penny that clip 2 days ago. I don't know how it came up. I was telling her that she should tell me a daft story about your life or whatever, and I was like, I'll tell you the story about when Jürgen Klopp laughed in Uncle Chris's face if you want. And I told her and she laughed, and I went, I think I've got the video. So you mad? It's just, but you're right. You play it all through, and you think of the good times. You think of the bittersweet parts and all that, and it's just shit because I don't want to consider a world where he's not Liverpool manager. I don't want to have to think about that. And I think about, and I've never been like this before. And all I could think of, to equate to what you're talking about there's those video clips that always do around on Twitter, and it's the young lads who found out when they find out Shankly's left, and they're like, what? You're having us on, and like they can't. They think it's a joke and they can't, because like why would Bill Shankly stop being Liverpool manager? Why would Jürgen Klopp on a seemingly a random Friday decide that today's the day he's announcing it's done? And obviously this has clearly been in the works for a while, because what's come out subsequently, which hasn't had the fanfare, of course, is that all the coaching staff are leaving as well. Yeah. And Schmadke, which I mean, whatever, but because my immediate thoughts went to, Well, it's big. That's big shoes for Pep, but he's obviously been getting bread for it. He's been doing the press conferences and all that, and then it's like, oh, so I just feel like someone's come along and like whipped me legs from under me, and as I'm looking at the ground, thinking, how am I going to best cushion this fall? Like someone's then gone and tied my hands behind me back, and I just feel like I'm falling in slow motion towards a concrete floor, and I can't figure out what's going to happen.
We've been watching Slow Horses season 3. We just finished it, and towards the end of it, like the spies and stuff like that, and one of the kill orders was clear the board, and that's sort of like, that's what Liverpool have kind of done, isn't it? It's just gone, we clear the board, we're going to start again. Like, we are the best job in Wales football right now for any manager coming in, and you've got an opportunity to put your imprint on your coaching staff, which is maybe a good thing. You've got an opportunity to work with a director of football that you might have a hand in picking as well. So in terms of monetarily, Liverpool are one of the best run clubs in the world. In terms of fan base, there's no one better. In terms of the football side and the youthfulness of that side, this side looks special, and it means business. So if you're a manager right now looking at any job in Wales football, it ain't going to be Liverpool knocking on a lot of people's doors. It's going to be managers knocking on the door for us.
I suppose you're right. I mean, we've lived through both eras of it. You know, we lived through the post-Rafa one where we were getting linked with Alan Kirbishley, and ultimately Roy Hodgson took the job. But also when Brendan Rodgers walked out, it was down to Carlo Ancelotti and Jürgen Klopp. And let's be honest, we'd have been over the moon with either of those guys. As it transpires, look, Carlo's gone on and continued to be probably the best manager pound for pound on the planet. But yeah, there's never been
a better fit.
Yeah, it was just couldn't have been any better fit than Jürgen Klopp for Liverpool. But I just look where I'm at right now. This is my thing. I'm getting like mad WhatsApp groups that I haven't spoken in years have all come to life again, full of random people all having conversations about like what happens next. And I look around World football, and when Brendan Rodgers left, I was shocked. I wasn't quite Thierry Henry, Cara leg squeeze, because we'd been garbage for a number of weeks. I was surprised that they pulled the trigger after only another draw, even
if it was only Everton.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, but it was. It was quickly eased by the names that came to the forefront, because Jürgen Klopp was available and Carlo Ancelotti was available, and maybe people watching can throw their oar in, but who the fuck's who's out there? Because
Xabi Alonso is the name that's being talked about, obviously,
and it's funny, isn't it? Because I talked about him, was it on the podcast, or maybe it was just us? That clip came out of him talking around about the rise of the far right in Germany again, and he gave a brilliant sort of statements about how it's wrong and all that kind of stuff. And that was the first time I had the same feelings about a manager. I haven't had those feelings about another manager since I used to watch Jürgen Klopp press conferences, and he used to say fuck in the manager. You know what I mean? It's just enough. What I require of managers changed a little bit over the last decades, but it was but yeah, Xabi Alonso, great. But I also remember, if this had happened 2 years ago, I'd have been banging the drum for Steven Gerrard, and that feels like the fairest thing from that could possibly happen right now.
And you're right. 2 years ago, the conversation was, is Steven Gerrard or Pep Linders going to be our next manager? Pep Linders, I think the club have already decided, isn't going to be the manager. Otherwise, he wouldn't be leaving the football club.
I think is the thing. I think he might have decided. I know we're talking about the club's cleaning house, but Jürgen's going. And look, I think if Pep wanted it, I think they'd probably move heaven and earth to keep him. But I also think, and this goes back to my problem, it's a double-edged, it's another edge to the sword, is who's out there, but also it's the most desirable, but it's a huge poison chalice potentially as well for any manager, because every time a iconic manager leaves a football club, the next manager, how the hell are you meant to follow in those footsteps?
That's the $1 million question, isn't it? But for me, how I'm thinking of it is, I think Pep probably thinks he deserves it. And if he's not going to be in the running for it, then he's not going to be at the club, because he'll probably want to go, and his body of work as a coach probably does deserve another shot at management. But it's irrelevant.
Deserve a shot at management at Liverpool is the
that's
level,
the question, and I think that's what Liverpool have to consider, isn't it? We're very far removed from the boot room nowadays, and not many football clubs have been able to make something like that work, if any. But there are good managers and good coaches out there. If you'd have asked 6 months ago, who would be top of your list, your De Zerbi's might be top of your list, and Alonso might not even be on it.
Yeah.
So this is how much things can change in a short space of time.
Graham Potter's probably on it 18 months ago.
Exactly. So, but Liverpool have had a little bit of time to think about this, obviously, since November now. And I think the last 2 months has probably been a really tight-knit circle of people who know what's going on. I think the players know. I think the players will know this, and I think the players will have already known this. And so the next question is it going to have a galvanising effect on the squad, or is it going to fall apart? Well, the form since November, and probably since they found out, if they have indeed found out, would suggest that it's having a galvanising effect, and we want to ride off into the sunset with 4 more trophies to his 7 that he's already won as Liverpool manager in his close to 9 years in charge. So there is all that to think about, but also Liverpool need to start speaking to people. So Liverpool needed to announce it at some point, because now what you've got to do is make the biggest decision that you've made in a decade. And you need time to be able to do that. If Liverpool tried to do this without Klopp telling everyone what's going on, it gets leaked and you're fucked.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we've even had it when Rafa was in charge, and they were talking to Jürgen Klinsmann like behind his back, and obviously it wouldn't be quite the same as that, but it's got a disruptive effect, and then it roused the fans up, and Jürgen, at least he's got out in front of it. Like we got a tip off about 60 seconds, I think, before. So obviously this has been a huge calculated sort of thing that it was going to be announced. This was it's been embargoed for 8 hours or whatever, because this stuff doesn't happen. Liverpool have just gone, push the button, and even like how Jürgen Klopp delivered the video. He tries to think of a way to and he just goes, I'm leaving, and gets the foot to the forefront, because they've got to crack on. But again, we're sat in the unknown right now. We found out the news. We don't know enough about it. We're recording this ahead of his press conference at 3. I'm sure that will be. I mean, to the point, the fact that he did his Norwich press conference a day early, which caught us all by surprise anyway, tells you that obviously this isn't an immediate thing. The fact that there was a video package prepared, you're right. They've obviously it's all been ready, geared up for this one moment.
Now, when Jürgen was talking, was there anybody on the football fields behind, or was the action just completely empty that day? It was one cameraman and Jürgen Klopp and maybe someone to sort the sound out.
No, genuinely, yeah, because again, you reach out, you ask questions of people and find out who knew things, and from what I found out so far, and I've not dug very deep on it in all truth, but this has been a very well kept sort of secret to this point, but now it's out.